Well, hello, dear listener, and welcome back to another RNR, Refinement Not Retirement podcast. My name is Tony Coe, and today I'm back on air with my co-host and lovely wife, Christine, for her reaction to my last episode, which was a cheeky one, which I snuck off on my own and recorded some of my thoughts about how I really felt about quitting work after many, many, many years. And so this reaction episode, we're going to hear from Christine, because I haven't heard, we haven't discussed she's only just listened to it, by the way, and we haven't discussed in any way what I said. And so we're going to be doing that live in front of you. So what she has to say, I'll be hearing for the first time too. So I've no idea what she's going to say. We're sneaking these two episodes, my soliloquy, my monologue, and this reaction video, we're sneaking in before part 2 of our narrowboat experience. We started telling you about that story. We're going to get back to that in the next episode. But I just really wanted to give, since this is about this big transition in our life, quitting work, quitting our company, I just wanted to sneak this in and let you know sort of where we are in our minds. I don't know where Christine is in her mind exactly, but I want to hear what she has to say about what have had to say, and that may prompt her. Some of the things I said may prompt her into telling us what maybe is going on in her mind. So, from a very snowy Cotswolds today, I'm looking out of my office window and seeing just a beautiful scene of a snow-covered Breeden Hill. So here we are for the reaction video. So Christine, hi, and it's over to you.
Hi. I'm probably going to start crying to start with. Which I'm fighting not to do, so I'm sorry, everybody. I have just listened to it, and so this is a really, really very natural response. First of all, I think listening to what you've said, Tony, is amazing. It was beautifully said. Everything you spoke very just lovely about your feelings, which I pretty much do know, really, because that's the way it's been. So I do hear what you have to say, but when just sitting quietly by myself, hearing you talk to everybody about what you and I have been talking and living these last few months, it is a beautiful sort of way of putting your feelings. I know you write very beautifully, and when you write your feelings down in your journals, and sometimes we read it back, but speaking like that, I thought was amazing. And I love you very much.
Well, thank you, sweetheart.
So
I love you too very much.
So listening to what you say, as I said, I think I pretty much know. We probably have quite a few arguments about some of the things that you are doing, and when you quite rightly said the first thing, talking about the Martin Lewis chopping up the ridiculous dishwasher tablets in half. I do think is completely ridiculous, and I've decided that I think going forward we need to get the powder, and I think that way you don't need to cut them in half, and we can just control it by a much smaller amount of powder and make it go further. I have to tell you, I did get that idea from Tracy, because she says that's what they're going to do. So that is the plan, is to buy the powder, and then you don't have to have the scissors and cut it in half and make a mess everywhere in the cupboard.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
So
I hadn't thought of that.
That's my reaction to that one. Yeah, you start off by saying I become less interested in the business. That is true. I've always felt that really not, although I've worked my whole life and as long as you in some shape or form. So I've sort of been, I guess, working for, nearly 50 years, really without ever having a break. And I think, I know there are a lot of career women out there. I became a career woman with you because of our love and our relationship. But I guess inwardly, I've never really been I just always wanted to just be a housewife. I think I've just always wanted to just be at home, cooking and cleaning and bringing up children and not really doing a lot. It's never been my thing. Sorry, I'm just going to have to blow my nose as a woman. But circumstances didn't allow that to happen. So I've just worked the whole time. So, the opportunity because of COVID and moving to this home and having the most beautiful home that I've ever had in my life. Late, yes, but so lovely that I just love being in it, even if I don't do anything. I love being in the home. I just walk around. I can't stop pinching myself saying how much I love it. And enjoying every moment of it. A beautiful kitchen to cook in. Our newfound, a few years now, state of being vegans has opened up another world of recipes and that sort of thing. Having a garden to be able to grow fruit and vegetables in. We have a oh, sorry, there's somebody just calling me there. We have a plum tree. I grew tomatoes last year. I'm about to plant potatoes this year because we love potatoes being vegan. So it's given me very much later in life than most people, a completely different outlook on life. I am very conscious of the years that we have left, which is very frustrating because to find this kind of life in our late 60s means there isn't a lot of life left. So my frustration, I guess, with you is the sort of, I'm not saying you're contradictory, but as you said, that you've always in your head been thinking of ways to earn money and to earn money and to earn money, and that has been your way. And now we've suddenly got no money coming in, so it's a sort of an adjustment. But I think there's no point in working so hard for so long and then not being able to enjoy the money that we have made. Sure. And I'm not talking about being ridiculous, but I am talking about that you're saying we haven't got much time left. Well, I think in that short time, we can't spend it worrying and cutting back on stuff, because we want to make it last our whole lives, because we don't know how long our life's going to last. And there's nothing worse than just suddenly, cutting back. I mean, I enjoy Waitrose. There's two of us in the home, and that gives me a pleasure. It doesn't give me a pleasure to go into Aldi or to Tesco's or to Lidl. I can't stand it, to save a few pence here and there. And I don't see the point if we're going to be, to be not enjoying, the money we've earned. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? So I am concerned that you're talking in one breath about you haven't got a lot of life left and you want to keep me, you think that you probably might kick the bucket before me, which of course we don't know that for a fact because anything can happen. But even if it did, I would have to adjust with what we had left any more than vice versa and what you did. But what I would be cross about would be the fact that the money that that we've earned, that you've worked so hard for,
We both
you
worked so hard
denied.
for.
Yes,
But yeah.
you're. I don't want you denying something that that was no point in giving up work. I mean, work, yes, is an end in order to have the money, but I won't mention who it is, but one of my dearest friends' husband sadly died a few years ago, who was very, very, very careful with money, to the point that he used to save and save and save and save. And the plan was when they retired that they would travel, they would do all the things that that they wanted to do. And sadly, his life came to an end very quickly. Although he knew he had 18 months to plan for that life, he was lucky in a way. He was able to set her up, tell her how everything operated, worked, passcodes, all the bank account details. But he did say, I regret, I regret, I've leaving you so much money, which is lovely for her, but she doesn't have him.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that we do what we enjoy. And I'm not talking about recklessly spending thousands on ridiculous things. I know I get upset about not being able to fly business class anymore because we're not running a business. But then I don't need to travel long distance, because I don't want to do that anymore. And as we get older, I think we're not interested in traveling far away. 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours max is enough for me.
Me too.
Because I enjoy our home so much. So it's putting it in the right place without you thinking too much. I gotta try and guide you in your head, because I know that's the way your mind works, and I'm not trying to change you from that. But I think we have to, even getting to 70, 80, we're not going to want to travel anyway. Who wants to travel at 80? You don't buy clothes. We don't have that same need for clothes anymore in the countryside. It's the same old jeans day in, day out. We don't really go out anymore because we don't want to go out anymore, not because we can't or we can't afford to go out. We're just enjoying a completely different life. And I think maybe it's taking you longer to adjust to not just the stop working and no income coming in, but to the total and breathe. It's like, so that your whole body is having to convert from a money-making machine brain to there isn't any money, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy what we've got. And I think I think we're just. I think it's because we aren't different people, but we are different people. I feel a very different person. I feel a completely different person. I feel a complete sort of no stress, no worries. If I've got to worry about, I don't know, my potatoes aren't growing properly, that's probably about the biggest worry I have. And I think without you realizing it, you've always been that person. I don't think you've always been like that, whether you were earning money or you were worrying about earning money, bringing money in for the family. Now you're worrying because you haven't got any money coming in, and are you going to be able to make the money that we've made last? And I don't think there's any need to worry about that. I really don't. I don't want, I'm not, we can be careful, but I think it's crazy to worry, for the next 10 years about something you know, that we've just got to do the best we can, but enjoy ourselves and not worry about it. So I'm just sort of seeing if I've written down anything else that yes, I mean, I would go back. I mean, I still think you've always been a much more hard worker than I have. And, you know, when you said, you know, I became less interested, I probably have been, yeah, probably not very good for the last few years, really, because I just like being a housewife. It's only taken me 67 years to get here, but so that is I'm talking a lot, aren't I? But that is my immediate reaction. I don't know whether it's what you expected. Probably is.
First of all, you said some lovely things. Thank you. And you've always been, you've just always been so supportive of everything I do. I can't believe, it's an unbelievable support that you've given me throughout, you know, since the time we first met. So I can't sort of express my appreciation enough for that. I did confide in, you mentioned Tracy. Tracy, by the way, is our eldest daughter. And she was with us the last couple of days. And I did confide in her that we were going to do this reaction video podcast episode. And she said, well, I think she was a little bit, from her reaction, she was a little bit in awe of the fact that you had agreed to do it. But she said, you know, yeah, that's, you know, how many people would do that? Come live on a podcast and, you know, speak from the heart. And you've done it in spades, and that's what I expected, because you're somebody who wears your heart on your sleeve. You always have done. So yeah, it's amazing that you were willing to do this, so willing to do it, and you've done such a beautiful job of it. I think my monologue started off from a fairly negative sort of perspective, but and maybe I dwelt too long on the negative aspect, but I did feel I led up to saying where I had got to, and that was this whole thing of acceptance. So that's something that's come to me sort of quite recently. I mean, being focused on money and cutting up the dishwasher tablets it's really what I was really trying to get over, and probably didn't do a very good job of, was that it's just that I've been programmed, I've been conditioned into focusing on money, even though, you know, I think in our own way, it's puny compared, as I said, it's puny compared with a lot of people have done, but in our own way, I think we've achieved a lot with our little sort of lifestyle business. And I'm very happy with what we've achieved, but I've always felt that I've got to strive to achieve more. I think that's been something that's been programmed into me by my environment, my father, and, you know, just and myself. I've sort of driven myself to always sort of focus on that.
Well, you've always worried about it. It's always been
worried
a worry
about. I've always worried
We've
about
talked
money. Yeah,
about
that's
it,
true. I mean, I've always,
yes,
you know, there's never enough money. You know, I play Monopoly, by the way, that way. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but when I play Monopoly, and I usually win Monopoly games, I'm absolutely ruthless in sort of collecting far too much cash. It's just because I feel so insecure with, you know, I must have been my father, you know, he was always worried about money. I mean, he was much more worried about money than I've ever been.
Yeah, so there's no point in collecting it all and I go, right, I'm not going to spend it now.
No, I'm completely with you on that. And that was, you know, it was coming to this acceptance position of accepting my lot in life, accepting what we've achieved, and being satisfied with it, being happy with it, which I am. I'm totally happy with it now.
Yes, I hear that. But where I hear that is that it is that, but it is the, as you said, the sort of the slight sort of morbidity of the time left, and that's where it becomes the sort of slightly, you are happy with it and you're content with it, but I am concerned that because you don't think we've got a lot of life, you've got to preserve all the cash, all the money we've made, so that it probably lasts way after we've gone. Well, then
Well,
that's
it has to, in a way, doesn't it? You have to look at it that way, because you can't look at it and try and
yes.
time them to your last pound when you
No, no, no,
breathe
no,
your
you
last
can't.
breath.
No, no.
Obviously you can't do that. So you've got to have a buffer in there, a significant buffer. And I mean, what I think it, just on an actuarial basis, I'm likely to go before you, and it could be many years before you. You could have a lot of life after me. And it is a concern to me that you should, rather like your, the friend that you were talking about, that was his focus probably as well. That he wanted to leave his wife in a situation where she wouldn't be plunged into, having to watch every last penny, or worse than that. So I mean, that is very. But I'm very, very, although I said, oh, the trapdoor's coming and we don't know how much time we've got left and we've got to make the most of it. Yeah, I mean, but I look at that positively. I mean, to my mind now, not having to run a business every day and looking at those emails all the time and worrying about this person and that person and this supplier and that supplier and so on, this problem and that problem, it really is a relief. I mean, I feel very happy about it. I'm actually
Yes, no,
very
I know that. Yes, you
accepting
are
of,
very content and happy, and
yeah.
I'm not. Yes, I'm not sort of saying anything against that, but I want you to enjoy that experience which you are in doing, but by not worrying so much about if we live another 10 or 20 years, will we have enough money to keep us going? I know we have to think to a certain degree, because as you said, you don't know when we're going to go, so you can't live every day like it's your last. I mean, I'm not suggesting that we do that. I'm suggesting that we are able to enjoy the reaps of 50 years work without too much stress and worry, about saving 2p on a carton of orange juice that might cost 2p more in Waitrose than it does in Aldi.
Well, yeah, but if it's all I'm saying is, if it's the same product,
yes,
I don't see the point in giving Waitrose 30% more.
No,
for
but it
something
isn't normally, to be honest.
I think you're a little bit unfair on Tesco's. I think that Tesco's, they
No,
do.
you're right. You're right. Yes.
If you compare, look, like the club card discounts, I think they're brilliant. I think that's a brilliant
No.
idea.
I agree, but there are certain products that I prefer to have in
Sure,
Waitrose.
but
the fruit and veg, for instance.
Waitrose have been badly losing market share, and have recently
Yes.
announced a total revamp because they are under such pressure from the discounters like Lidl and Aldi that they are having to rethink a lot of their approach. And
Yeah.
why don't they? I mean, I'd like to see them introduce something like Waitrose's club card system, so that
yes, I
savings.
agree. I agree. I think that would be good. But I think it's the fresh fruit and veg. I think the quality is far superior to even in Tesco's. It might be cheaper, but again, I don't see the point of buying a bag of potatoes for 20p less, which I have to throw half of them away.
No, of course not.
Because
that's a bad purchase. I mean, yeah, no,
because
I'm
they're
with
marked
you.
and they're brown and they're growing roots and they're just not
No,
very pleasant. So
I agree that
it's and I think I am the food shopper and the cook, so I think I should
you
be
are.
entitled to my.
But the two things that I mentioned were, first, acceptance, which we've discussed, and the other thing of the power of now, the precious present, and
Yes.
that is a huge thing now in my life, and I think we are making the most of the precious present, and I think that's something that we're keeping top of mind all the time.
Yes, and we certainly are doing that. You're right. And I think once the weather gets a bit better, it'll be even better, because it's pretty horrible at the moment.
Well, I don't know. This is beautiful. I mean, it's just a little bit dangerous. I mean, I don't want to fall down, slide down Breeden Hill again, like I did on the 21st of January, and put myself out of action.
No, exactly.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yes,
But I'm enjoying looking at the very pretty snow. That's for sure. anyway, that was beautiful. Honestly, Chris, that was so beautiful, and I'm so
Well, thank
glad
you.
that I asked you to
That was
do
a
that.
very clever way of doing it. Yeah. So I hope I hadn't realised you'd spoken to Tracy about it. So I'm very much looking forward to you sending it to Tracy and
Yes,
hearing what
she said, I want to listen to
her.
that. I said,
Oh
well,
yeah, I can't wait for her to listen to it. Yeah, so that will be interesting.
so that's great. So yeah, good. Well, perhaps we'll do a few more things like this, and yeah, as I say, I've totally loved it. Now that we've got all that out the way, we are very much looking forward to talking about those things that I said we would be talking about in episodes ahead. I listed a few of them, didn't I?
Yes, I was excited about that too.
Well, I think it is. We've got some great plans for the podcast, and what else was I going to just say? Yes, of course. Our next one, we're going to be getting back to our narrowboat experience. And funnily enough, you went out to a pub quiz the other night, and you were on your team was another couple who've got a narrowboat that they keep in very similar place to where we used to keep Tickety Boo, our narrowboat. And I think they said that they had seen her or bumped into her, or did you?
Yes. Actually, it would be quite fun to try and get them on. Actually, it would be if when you next see them, you'll have to talk to them because you weren't there. But I think I didn't get a chance because it was a pub quiz to talk to them too much because we were all trying to win. We did come third, by the way. But I think you'd enjoy talking to them about it.
Well, yes. In fact, we've got some exciting plans for guests on this show. We haven't actually officially launched this podcast yet, so it's in pre-launch stage at the moment. But we wanted to get about 5 episodes in the can before we actually officially launched it, which we will be doing in the not too distant future. But it's nice to see that even in the pre-launch stage, it is gathering an audience and gathering interest, and we love to have your feedback. We'd love to hear, dear listener, what your reaction to what we've had to say to each other on this. If you've been through this before, maybe you're going through something similar now, or you're coming up to that time in your life where you're going to make a similar transition. We really want to share with you and hear from others. So please do let us know if you're interested in being a guest. So people tend to be Marmite on this. Either they say, oh yeah, I'd really love to come on, when can I come on? Or they say, oh no, that's not for me. No, I don't want to be talking live or talking on air and so on. So it's funny that, but you might fall into the former category. If you like the idea, then we do reach out to us, and we'll schedule something in. Or if you're in the latter category of perhaps not wanting to be quite so out there with everything, then we have a way of we'd just like, well, let me put it this way, we'd like to hear what you have to say, and maybe we can find a way of weaving that in without identifying you, if that's if that's
that's a good idea. Yes, that would be good.
That's your preference. But it's very important for us to have data points from outside in the world of what other people are thinking about of all the topics that we have been discussing and will be discussing. But I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you again, my darling wife Christine, for that, and thank you, dear listener, for bearing with us and supporting us. We appreciate it very much, and we will look forward very much indeed to seeing you for part 2 of our narrowboat experience, which will be quite soon. So for now, well, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Bye everybody. Bye for now. See you next time.
Bye.